One of the most expansive real-time vessel tracking and monitoring organizations in the world is located in Juneau, Alaska. Because the need is clear. Alaska is remote, it is wild, and it's one of the most heavily trafficked maritime regions in the world.
The Marine Exchange of Alaska is really about keeping people safe, saving lives, preventing ships from having a major disaster to protect this beautiful environment that we have up here.
Thousands of international ships transit Alaska's waters while sailing between Pacific ports and the Far East. There's a massive fishing and cruise industry here as well. With the vastness of this place, it's easy to get into trouble.
These vessels are operating in a really remote part of Alaska, alongside some of Alaska's most wild and pristine coastline. So to have a vessel tracking system in place that's monitored 24/7 creates a huge advantage when it comes to preventing a marine casualty or an environmental disaster.
What happens here in this building down in our operations center is really kind of like air traffic control. We call that sea traffic management. So we're watching those boats and we're providing communications to keep them away from hazardous areas, to provide them critical information like weather, information on marine mammals, anything that's going to make their voyage safer and more efficient.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maritime information specialists monitor vessel traffic through the use of a universally adopted radio transceiver system called AIS. Maybe you've already heard of AIS. Commercial vessels over 65 feet, from tankers to fishing boats, are required to be equipped with it. The technology transmits a vessel's name, type, course, speed, and exact location, but a system is needed to track all that data. The Marine Exchange of Alaska, MXAK for short, is a world leader in collecting, sharing, and acting on information to improve maritime safety and environmental protection. MXAK has installed and operates a network of over 150 marine safety sites spanning Alaska's expansive coastline. These marine safety sites host a variety of devices that collect and transmit AIS data, real-time environmental conditions, ocean current data, and VHF radio communications. Information gathered from the sites is relayed back to the Marine Exchange's Operations Center. If there's an anomaly with a vessel's transit, it will be noticed. And when vessel operators know that someone is always watching, it provides peace of mind and influences behavior in ways that reduce risk.
This plays a huge part in protecting Alaska's coastline. We're constantly communicating with vessels that are taking the Great Circle route through the Aleutian Islands of Alaska, or we may be giving a fishing vessel a weather update for their area.
The staff here represent a whole suite of skill sets and over 150 years of former Coast Guard service, from software engineers to regulatory specialists, data analysts, and seasoned mariners. The crew offers immense experience required to facilitate valuable services for the maritime industry. But they can't do it alone. MXAK relies on strong public-private partnerships with federal and state agencies, non-government organizations, and local communities to ensure appropriate services are accessible to those who need it. The technology is designed and built in Juneau, then transported to significant areas along Alaska's coastline. It can be an impressive commute for the field ops crew to service marine safety sites. To get to the Aleutian Islands, they must travel 1,600 miles from the office, the equivalent of Dallas to Seattle. But the crew never leaves Alaska.
Our field operations crew are really talented in what they do. They're remote power experts, they're network experts, they're internet experts, they're electricians, they're survivalists. They're really talented folks, and there's only 6 of them that service all of our 155 marine safety sites in the field throughout Alaska, every season of the year. They're really adventurous when it comes down to it. They're not afraid to go out on the water or in a helicopter to get to a site or on a boat somewhere. They use all forms of transportation to get to our wide array of marine safety sites in the field.
Here you go. St. George Island, Marion Sea. Crane Aviation canceled the flight today for some reason. Not quite sure why.
And why are these services necessary? The area is vast, and there are limited resources to respond to maritime disasters. Prevention is paramount to the protection of Alaska, its residents, and the nation's maritime economy.
And those vessels are getting bigger, the crews are getting smaller, there's more information, and the demand for information is greater than it's ever been. So it's really rewarding because the information provided truly makes things safer and saves lives in the end.
While preventing accidents is the ultimate goal, there are times when response is needed, and the Marine Exchange is there to assist. An example is the sinking of the fishing vessel Scandi's Rose. By using the Marine Exchange of Alaska's vessel tracking system to pinpoint the final AIS location transmitted from the distressed vessel, the Coast Guard was able to reduce the search area and rescue the survivors.
So while I was still in the Coast Guard, my last job was the Chief of Incident Management for the Coast Guard in District 17 in Alaska. And the Scandi's Rose was probably my biggest search and rescue mission that I was in charge of. They capsized and sank. We called the Marine Exchange for their position information, knowing that they have an extensive view of all the maritime traffic from their AIS data. And we're able to send a helicopter to that last known position and pull the only 2 survivors out of the water that night.
Prior to the Marine Exchange of Alaska, the exact location of vessels in Alaska were unknown. Times have changed, and technology continues to advance. MXAK's latest efforts have been expanding critical VHF radio and distress communications to coastal areas that lack reliable coverage.
Mayday, 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 this is the Defender. Defender, over.
Vessel calling Mayday, Defender. This is the Marine Exchange. Do you copy?
So recently, the fishing vessel Defender called in a Mayday from about 43 miles northeast of Dutch Harbor. And that area is outside of the radio range coverage for the Coast Guard. But we do have a radio on Mount Ballyhoo, which overlooks the area where this fishing vessel was. And they had 32 people on board, and they had an engine room fire. They called out a Mayday, which the Coast Guard did not hear, but we did. Our maritime information specialist answered the call, got the pertinent information, and then relayed those details to the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard then was able to, in effect, a search and rescue and response effort based upon the capabilities that we provided for that incident.
Alaska is a beautiful place, filled with fragile ecosystems, and no one wants a man-made disaster. With the changing climate and increasing maritime traffic in the Arctic, the Marine Exchange has even more responsibility than ever before and has initiated a new focus called Arctic Watch to better protect and serve Alaska's Arctic region. As geography and times change, the Marine Exchange remains constant, saving lives, preventing disasters, and supporting a strong maritime economy.